ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the newest episode of Dave and Fraz Sports Talk Show. I'm Davis Gregory here with Aaron Frazier as always, and today we're going to be doing our first debate on the NBA, as one of the biggest topics after All-Star break is who is the MVP, and I will be arguing in the case of James Harden, and Aaron will be arguing in the case of Kevin Durant. So I'll let Aaron start it off.
Well, James Harden is a worthy candidate for the MVP position, especially that he hasn't been elected the MVP position yet. But, I'm really pushing for Kevin Durant this year. And I have a few reasons why as compared to James Harden I believe this. My first one, my initial reason is that the Golden State Warriors, arguably the greatest team of all time in skill set factors. They have Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and Kevin Durant, whereas they are more talented than the Rockets roster, which is still very talented, with Trevor Ariza, James Harden, and Chris Paul, who averages 19 points and 10 assists each game. But it still amazes me how Kevin Durant manages with this all-star lineup in Golden State to maintain 26 points a game, and his efficiency is just unparalleled. I mean, you look at it, he has a 52% field goal percentage, whereas compared to Harden having a 44% field goal percentage, and they take around the same amount of shots each game, which in itself blows my mind. And then everyone talks about how James Harden gets most of his points from the free throw line, which in my idea of an MVP candidate, that should not apply. If you really factor in the amount of free throw difference between Kevin Durant and James Harden, Kevin Durant would have a higher points per game, which, I mean, in my opinion, I really think an MVP candidate doesn't need to earn his points just at the line, especially when he has a lower free throw percentage than Kevin Durant.
Well, I could argue the case that an MVP candidate also doesn't have four other All-Stars in his starting lineup, with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and himself, Kevin Durant, and Zaza Pachulia, who just is there so they can play in the starting five. So, James Harden, of course, they said Chris Paul, excellent addition for the Rockets this offseason, but Harden's still averaging that 31 points, and they said they couldn't share the ball. And Harden averaging around that 32, 31 points per game range, and also scoring the highest triple-double ever this season with 60 points, scoring 50 in back-to-back nights against the Clippers and the Lakers in Los Angeles. On a back-to-back night, no days spread apart, back-to-back put up 50. Still lost, but still put up those 50 points. Harden has had amazing outbursts of scoring with 30 points, which is what he's averaging, as I said, and 50, 40, and of course that 60-point triple-double being his highest scoring night of the year. I think that Harden is the most valuable player because he fills more of a most valuable role than Durant. If you take Durant off the Warriors are still going to be a top 5 seed in the West. If you take Harden off the Rockets are going to be like, 8th seed, maybe barely missing the playoffs. So that's my case for Harden.
And I really like that point, and I'm just going to make this point. And when you're talking about Golden State having an all-star lineup, I can flip the question. I can say, Golden State, they have 4 All-Stars, yes, and Kevin Durant still puts up 26 points a game. He puts up better statistics and a higher 2-point and 3-point efficiency as compared to Harden. And when you're looking at Chris Paul, I said he averages 19 points and 10 assists. So, I mean, when you're looking at this Rockets team, they are very good with ball movement. So obviously Harden is going to get a lot of looks, and he's going to get those points, and he's going to have the opportunities to have triple-doubles just based off the fact that there's Trevor Ariza, who's a great small forward for them, and Chris Paul distributes the ball so efficiently, and he has really developed his game driving.
And I can agree with that statement that, Durant shoots better from 3 and from 2, but Harden's going to take the majority of the shots with the less amount of firepower that they've got in that starting 5. Chris Paul's going to get himself some shots. Trevor Ariza, as he said, but how Capella is scoring, that's mostly where Harden's assists are going in the pick and roll to Capella. You don't really see Durant using a pick and roll. You see him normally pulling up and scoring his points himself. I feel like Harden just gets everyone involved more efficiently than Durant does.
And I would agree with that statement. And I also believe Harden, I do think he fits that role very well, especially along with Chris Paul and Trevor Ariza. But it blows my mind how Kevin Durant, with 4 of all-stars that are arguably the top 10 best players in the world right now, how he still manages to put up these points and how he is able to still filter his game through those other 3 players. That in my position, my opinion, that looks to be more of a bigger feat than it does for James Harden when you have a Chris Paul, when you have a Trevor Ariza, when you have these facilitators and you have this good ball movement and this chemistry. There's 2 different viewpoints of looking at it.
That is true, and also Curry averaging the 26 points per game. And Clay, sometimes inconsistent, but still averaging around that 20 points per game. And Draymond being the defensive force that he is, Warriors lineup definitely provides a lot of firepower. But I believe that's going to be all the time that we have for this debate. First debate ever on the show, and we hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time.